Hello everyone and welcome back to our course. In this lecture, we're going to do an introduction to what is Unreal Engine 5 in the first place. We'll talk about in general what is Unreal and then specifically some features of Unreal 5. Unreal is a software for building virtual worlds, visualizations, and entertainment. It's used across many industries like game development, but also in the automotive industry for designing cars. It's used as well in film for visual effects, and as well it's used in architecture for designing buildings and much more. It can also be used for augmented reality, virtual reality, and machine learning, because with Unreal you can really quickly create worlds that are realistic. They don't have to be hyper realistic, but they can be, and therefore you can really quickly generate data sets, whether that's for being able to take a picture of an image from 1,000 different angles, so that later you can use those data sets for detection, or whether that's designing tracks for self-driving cars to train in a realistic road. There are lots of possibilities of what you can build with Unreal. It is an open and advanced real-time 3D creation tool. It's also completely free, so anyone can just download Unreal and start building something with it. There's a large active community of developers and designers and in general creators, so there's a lot of support online if you have questions, if you have problems. Oftentimes, most likely someone has come across the same problem that you have or is building something that you could find interesting. Unreal was created by the company Epic Games, who also built the games Fortnite and Infinity Blade. So there's quite a lot of production and team behind building the Unreal Engine itself, and it's still constantly being developed and improved. Unreal supports pipeline integration, animation, simulation, and effects, integrating media, building worlds, gameplay, as well Hollywood quality rendering, lighting, and materials, virtual production, and developer tools. There is a whole suite of tools for you to use, and you can learn more at unrealengine.com. We're going to be using Unreal Engine 5 Early Access. Unreal Engine 5 is the latest version of Unreal. It has many new key features and improvements, such as a new design of the editor that's more user-friendly, and also very interesting Nanite and Lumen technologies. Nanite is a virtualized micro-polygon system that allows you to build your meshes, your objects with huge amounts of geometric detail. So you can have millions of polygons in super high quality source assets while still having a real-time frame rate. And Unreal is used to build projects all the way from huge commercial games to indie games to huge films, blockbuster films, and other industries as well. Nanite, as of Unreal 5, is available for use, and it allows you to have super high quality polygons inside of your objects. And the great thing about Nanite is that If you're zoomed out, you might not necessarily want to have a high level of detail, and Nanite can actually intelligently process how much detail you need. So if you're zoomed out, you won't have to process all of those micro details, but if you're really zoomed in, you will process those details. As well as of Unreal 5, there is now the Lumen technology, which allows for dynamic illumination. So you no longer have to author your light map UVs and bake your light maps. Lighting is a lot more dynamic and adaptive on the fly. And this is huge because before, lighting was a lot of work to set up in any kind of environment. But with Lumen, lighting is dynamic. There are many other features to Unreal 5 as well. Nanite and Lumen are the two big highlights. To learn more, just go to epicgames.com and read more about their Unreal Engine 5 features. Unreal 5 is quite exciting. It's great for anyone from a beginner to game development to someone who's advanced in game development to start off building out a project. So it's great regardless of where you are in your game development journey. You can build something with Unreal. Whether you want to build a low poly indie game or you want to build a more high quality realistic game, you can do it quickly with Unreal. And not only games, but of course other industries as well. For this course, we're focused on game development. And as well, with Unreal, you can also use its templates for building games, which is a great way to learn and also to build projects quickly. We're going to be learning throughout our series of courses on Unreal. We're going to learn how to build projects from scratch and also how to put to use templates, because with templates you can build out your projects really quickly, and without templates you can really learn from the ground up how to use Unreal. Unreal is used at many companies across lots of industries like the automotive industry, the film industry, of course the game development industry. So it's a great tool to add to your tool belt, being able to use this powerful software. So join me coming up in our next lecture. We will talk about how to install Unreal. Hello everyone, and welcome back to our course. In this lecture, we're going to learn how to install the Unreal 5 engine. First, you want to go to unrealengine.com/English-US/download. Okay, so this is the downloads page for the Unreal Engine. Here you have two different licensing options. You have publishing license and a creator's license. Okay, for the publishing license, after the first $1 million in revenue that your product makes, then you have to pay a 5% royalty. For the creator's license, there are no royalties. However, for the creator's license, you then wouldn't get for game development. For publishing a game, choose the publishing license. But for just learning or for internal and free projects, custom applications, or linear content, such as film or TV, you can choose the creator's license, which doesn't have any royalties. Okay, then you just click this button, download now, and this is going to prompt you to sign up or log in to an Epic Games account. All right, so you can sign up for an Epic Games account. It's completely free, and that will allow you to download that Epic Games launcher. So this application is going to be called the Epic Games Launcher, and once you have it installed, open it up. Here it is on my computer. I have the Epic Games application now open. All right, and next up, in order to get Unreal Engine 5, we have to go into this tab UE5, and we have to download the early access version of this engine. Okay, so then in the top right hand corner, you'll have this button that says you can launch the engine. But you'll only get this button in the top right hand corner if you have downloaded the Unreal Engine 5. It takes about an hour or more to download depending on your computer's speed. There's also a prompt for UE4, Unreal Engine 4. And if you are finding yourself clicking this button UE5, download early access, and if you find that nothing happens when you click that, in that case, go to UE4 and start a download of UE4, Unreal Engine 4, and then just pause the download and start a download of UE5 again, because I encountered this problem where I tried to click download early access, but nothing was happening, and that was because I didn't have any version of Unreal Engine in my library at all. But if you have a version of Unreal Engine 4, even if it's not even downloaded, if it's just partially downloaded, then come back and you can download early access. Because Unreal Engine 5 is an early access version as of now, it means that there can be some bugs and issues like that. All right, once you have installed Unreal Engine 5, you can press the button in the top right-hand corner or inside of your library to launch the engine. All right, and this is going to allow you to then select what kind of project you want to create. The first time that you launch a project via Unreal Engine, it can take some time for the engine to set itself up. For example, for compiling its shaders when you're making a new project. So just be patient when you're running UE5 for the first time. But then once you have started building projects with it, it will launch faster each time. Okay, here we can see we have different tabs for our recent projects, games templates, film, video, and live events templates, architecture, engineering, and construction templates, and automotive product design and manufacturing templates, the four main industries that Unreal is used for. And that is how you can install Unreal Engine 5. If you have any other issues installing Unreal 5, just search them up via a search engine or look into the Unreal Engine 5 forums and look up your issue there. Speaking of which, coming up next, we're going to talk about how to debug Unreal, what to do if you encounter any problems or you have a question or an error that pops up. So join me in our next lecture. Hello everyone and welcome back to our course. In this lecture, we're talking about how to debug Unreal and Visual Studio. Because with game development, it's inevitable you're going to get bugs, errors all day long. It's very common to get errors, come up with problems, have a lot of questions, some things not working as you expect. So in this lecture, we'll talk about what to do when that comes up, because a large part of development is fixing bugs, inspecting bugs, solving problems, answering questions, finding out what's wrong, whether that's a syntax error, a logical error, or a technological error. A large part of your day as a developer is fixing bugs. So we'll talk about how to do that, because being able to handle frustration and learning how to effectively problem solve is going to help you build your projects a lot faster. First, in Unreal, there is the log windows for debugging. There's the output log, the message log, and the device output log, which will give you information about what's happening at each step of your Unreal run and even your Unreal development. So you can look in these logs. With Visual Studio, though, we get even more nuanced of a debugger, because first off, you get an error list, which you can open just as a window, known as the error list. This will tell you if you have any errors in your code, whether before you've run it or even after you've run it or during the run. And here you can see in the error list, we get the code for the error, which is just the code that you can search up. It refers to what error was thrown. Then we get the description of the error. In this case, we have two errors: expected a semicolon and syntax error float should be preceded by a semicolon. We then have the project location where the actual error occurred and the file. We also have the exact line where that error occurred. So we can see here we have our errors at line 17 and 20. So if we go to that location inside of our project, we can see exactly where we went wrong. In this case, we are missing a semicolon on line 17. And also, because of that, it causes a problem on the line at line 20, which says that the float should be preceded by a semicolon because the semicolon is missing. So two errors, and they can be fixed just by adding a semicolon on that line 17. If you see an error but you still don't understand what's going on, there are many options you can take. First, you can use the debugger in Visual Studio. So if you run your project in debug mode, so if you hit debug from Visual Studio or F5, then you'll be able to access the debugger, which is going to provide you with a huge detailed list of everything that's happening in your program, including any errors. So it's similar to this error list. And with the debugger mode in Visual Studio, we can get a lot of information about what's going on even on the Unreal side, because sometimes when you're running a project in Unreal, the project can just crash with not much of a good explanation why. So if you're running the same project but in debug mode, then Visual Studio will actually often give you a lot more detailed of an explanation about what went wrong. So if you ever run your Unreal project and it crashes or something happens that you didn't expect, then run it in debug mode via Visual Studio, and you'll be able to see with more detail why the crash or the error occurred. Again, if you still don't understand your problem, then search up your error or your question via a search engine. There are many different websites with answers, like Stack Overflow or Unreal Forums are the two most popular ones. Because Unreal and C++ have been around for a long time, they also have a large community. So there are a lot of people who have the same questions you do, and more often than not, usually 99% of the time, if you ask a question, it's already been asked somewhere on the web and you can find an answer. Just takes enough patience of searching. Sometimes it's good to take a break and come back to your problem as well. Another option is to join a Discord server with fellow programmers, developers, specifically Unreal C++ game developers, because often they're a lot more experienced than you and they can provide you with answers as well. The number one place for questions about Unreal 5 is the Unreal Engine 5 Early Access Forum. This is a forum by Epic Games, specifically by Unreal Engine. And this is where you can find questions specifically pertaining to Unreal Engine 5 Early Access. Because if you have a question, often it can be about the engine exactly, Unreal Engine 5, versus another version like Unreal Engine 4. So I highly recommend going to this forum if you have problems as well. And that is how to debug Unreal. I will see you in the next lecture.